Welcome to the first video in what I hope is going to be a long-running series. The goal, for those not familiar, is to bake a loaf of bread a week until I'm through with Bernard Clayton Jr.'s Complete Book of Breads, 1971 edition, a staple of the grandparents. I'm going to start by saying I have no idea what to film. Right now I just have ingredients mixing, post-proof, shaping, finished project. I'm going to try to keep it that way until I get feedback. If people are looking for some other things, I guess just let me know. I also don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'll try to keep it to bread and things I've learned along the way, but might have to dip into some fun little anecdotes to fill the air. I don't know. I really just wanted to get started on the project and not sit and hem and haw about it. So we're throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks. I would like to try and learn something from all of this. I'm not going to try and shoehorn a lesson into every episode, but if I have an opportunity to ask a question or have a moment of learning, no matter how big or small, I'm going to try to point it out or jump on it. For instance, in this week's entry, I've moved into a new apartment recently, and this was the first thing I popped into the oven. Burned the hell out of it. Learned that the oven runs hot. I bought a hanging thermometer to get a better understanding of how it's running for the upcoming weeks. Just about the first lesson you learn when you start a baking journey. So, starting at the bottom. That being said, this first entry is called Can Do Quick White Bread. It's the first entry in the book, and it claims to cut bread making time in half, which I don't know about that, but it did make a white bread. The bread felt amazing, like just from start to finish. I wrote all this stuff down in the blog, and I don't want to harp on it. I'd like each piece of media to be its own little distinct view on the process. And but between like reading, Instagram, listening, watching, there are a few things that are both going to get missed and then probably repeated. So if some of it's repeated, at least it's consistent, hopefully. But yeah, the bread felt nice. I tried proofing it in the oven. I just turned it on for a second, warmed it up, opened it once to look at it. It doesn't have a glass door, and flashed the heat again just for a second. I took it out a little bit early to warm the oven up. Set the dough in the oven while it was doing that, and it seemed to work out nicely. I'm also not a kneading expert, but I put some time and elbow grease into it, and by the end of it, when there was the poke test, the bounce back felt very satisfying, so I'm gonna assume that was fine. This was like the definition of white bread, like nothing too special about it. I think I put it at a 4 out of 10. If 5 is like something that you just like walk in and buy a loaf off the store, be it a white bread or a rye bread or whatever, like if a standard white loaf is 5 out of 10, then the time and effort, even though it wasn't anything crazy, but just the work that went into making this, and then for how it tasted, and I know I did burn it, so I mean, part of that's on me, but I'd rather just go buy a loaf of bread. Like, it wasn't bad, but just one step below. So yeah, that's really all I got for this. Thanks for being patient while I figure out how to do all this stuff. And if you're still watching at this point, thanks for watching. I plan on posting links the Instagram and the blog shortly. And yeah, I'll talk to you all next week. Bye.